You do. Hello then. So welcome to Behind the Build. It's a community-led event for the AI and the Rest, our Happy Operators community, and we've got two builders who are going to share their solutions. I don't know whether you call them apps, processes, but I think apps actually. Yours is an intelligence layer, Simon. Let's call it. And Simon's going to go first with OS intelligence. So take it away, Simon. And then if anyone has any questions. I reckon I can field them in the chat or just put your hand up. And if Simon wants to stop, you can. If not, we'll do it at the end. And we've got about 15, 20 minutes each. All right.
Cool. Sounds great. Thanks, Matt. Real quick intro to me, Simon Conway. I'm an AI product manager, over 20 years in product. I'm based in Barcelona, or just a bit down the coast on the beach, actually. So right now I'm freelance. I'm building OS intelligence in the open, and I'm also looking for the right AI PM role, like an AI native company using Claude Code. So that's me. And I'm going to start with the problem. So I'll show you the problem first. So let me share my screen. Uh, okay, let's share. So that should have popped up. Can you see this one? Did that?
Yeah, yeah, we can see it. I can
Yep.
Yes.
see cursor. Yeah.
Just got a cursor screen. So here's Claude Code. I'm going to open a fresh session here. And I'm working on a project. I've been running it for about, I don't know, 4 weeks. There'll be like 40 or 50 files in here, half a dozen people involved. A bunch of decisions have already been made. So I type in like, what did I do in me call project yesterday? Spelling it wrong, but we'll see what it does. So it'll answer. But if we look at how it answers, what it does is it goes off and it just hunts for things. It greps a folder, it goes and picks up some Git commits, looks through some files. So takes about 20 seconds. Not the best example here. This is because I just copied it over. I mean, it's actually a good example for this. This isn't what I wanted it to. This doesn't help me with my project. And it does this every single time I come back. And the worst part is I have to trust it. So it's reconstructing from these fragments. Most of the time it's about right. Sometimes it confidently tells me about a decision I never made. So I'll be running sort of 8 to 10 projects in here on any given week. And every Monday morning, I'm either re-explaining everything from scratch or sitting there watching the agent dig across all of them. And it's really time consuming. So the thing is, the agent's brilliant, but it's also reconstructing my context from scratch every time. It's doing it slowly. Sometimes it's doing it wrong. And the bit that took me a while to land on is the agent didn't have a problem. I had a problem. I had no system for handling, for giving it the context. So every time it has to go digging for it. So this reframe, this is most of the work. So I built a thing. Matt framed it as second brains, which I think is fair. It's sort of in the family of second brains, but I don't really care about storing more stuff. I care about the agent picking up where I left off without digging. Uh, so what I built, it's not a memory plugin, it's not a RAG, it's a set of conventions and skills that live inside Claude Code that make the agent re-enter the project instead of reconstructing it from scratch. And the whole thing's really about 5 rituals. So firstly, it's about setting up a project with goals, then starting a session, pulling in context, doing the work, saving the session. So it's open source, it's called OS Intelligence, and the next 12 minutes are Firstly, how it works, and then secondly, what I would steal if I was making something like this myself from this project. Real quick one before we kick off, and I'll turn on the chat. Drop in a brain emoji in the chat if you've built a second brain or setup of any kind. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be Notion, it could be Obsidian, it could be just your own thing. Just helps me know who I'm talking to and where you are with it. Let me have a look in the chat. Tried and failed. Yes. Oh, Nick, you're on the call. Yes, yes, we talked about this the other day. Nick totally has a crazy second brain. Arthur, that's awesome. Okay, so a few people on the call have had a go. So some of this, you'll recognize some of this stuff. Okay, so that's the problem. It's this excavation problem. So here's one pattern that does most of the work. And then I'll show you a couple more so you've got something to take home with you. So I'm going to run something in here. It's a skill OS start. And what it does, it gives me a list of my projects that are in here. So I'm just going to pick the one that I'm working on today. So we watch what it does. It's the same kind of question that I asked a minute ago, but it doesn't dig. It reads one file that is in the project that's called current state. So the agent now knows where the project stands, what's in flight this week, what the open questions are, who the people are who are involved. Because it's a file, I can check it. Every line in there is either something I wrote or it's something that came out of a session that I was running with Claude. Definitely not something that the agent inferred from fragments. So I trust this in a way I don't trust the dig. Just get rid of all that excavating. And I can ask it, what should I do today? And it has the context to answer accurately. So I'll scroll up and down here. This is like you can see a few things in here. But there's two things that make this work. Neither of them are very sexy, to be honest. One is that there's a canonical place for the project state. So there's not five, it's not dotted around meeting notes, there's one file. And then the second is there's a command at the end of each session called OS save, and that rewrites the file. So the file's always fresh because I never have to remember to update it. It's all kind of baked into the workflow. So it doesn't rely on me. And here's the file. So there's a bit more in here than in that summary there. You can see what we know from documents, a little bit about stakeholder dynamics, this sort of thing. It's just markdown. You can read it, you can edit it. It's nothing magic. The whole system is files, basically, which we'll look at next. Okay, so that's a demo of how we start. Here are three patterns from how it's built. And like, if you're working on something like this yourself, you can steal whichever works for your setup. So the first one was what we just mentioned, files, not databases. So everything is marked down. The project state, the people, the decisions, the meeting notes, the memory that I've developed in this thing, they're all just MD files in a folder. There's no vector store, there's no SQLite or anything like this. So three reasons for that. For me, I trust what I can see. So if the agent's wrong, there's no black box. I can just go in and make changes. Second, there's no lock-in. So if OS intelligence disappears, you still just got everything on your computer. It works just fine. And then finally, Markdown is the language that the agent already speaks. So the files are for me, they're also for the agent. It's just kind of, you've got one artifact, two people read it. So the cost of this is that it doesn't scale to 10,000 files. So I've got about 600 or 700 in my actual kind of working directory. And it works fine for me. So for me, just sticking with files is a win for my personal context. Okay, so the second pattern is goal as lens. So every project has a stated goal. It's just one sentence. So you can see this for my, this is my sort of synthetic project. You can see here, it's got a goal in here. So every synthesis that the agent runs uses this goal as a filter. So if the goal is find people who use this project and build with them, the synthesis surfaces signals about this. So it's not like a generic project status. It's not highlights. It's specific to what the goal cares about. And I can also claim every claim in the synthesis, I can trace it back to a source file, like a transcript, a document, a chat. So I can spot check it and make sure it's right. So the cost to this is you actually need to write the goal, which is harder than it looks. Many projects that I've worked on, they don't really have a goal. They're more like got a vibe or something. You can't really filter on a vibe. Okay, and in the third pattern, context is a byproduct of the work. It's not a setup step. So this is the one thing that might change how you work. People treat building context as a setup task. So you sit down, you write a big brief, and then you start. I don't. I don't think you should. I start a project nearly empty and I build the context through the work. So here's the loop. I describe a task to Claude. Before it starts, I ask what you need to do this well, then I feed that in. It does the task. And if I don't like what comes back, don't just re-roll it. I ask, why isn't this right? What was missing? Whatever it names, I add it. And now that's in the project for the next time. So there's two things that make this work, and they're both OS intelligence doing its job. The first is that because the context is there and it's high quality, the cost of asking drops to almost nothing. So I ask Claude tiny things all day, like, is this the right order for these 3 points? Does this fit my tone of voice? Or we discussed this 3 days ago. Tell me what, I know we discussed this 3 days ago. Tell me what that was. So it's not worth asking a tool you brief from scratch because it's just too much friction to be worth it. But it's very worth asking one that already knows the project. And then the second one is that it gets saved. So every session, the decisions and the finished tasks go into the project. And also, I've set it up so conversations where we're reasoning. So if I'm talking to Claude about having an argument about strategy or we're questioning direction, this is all stored in a separate reasoning file. So what this means is that the project keeps the why, not just what happened. And it's just super helpful when you kind of look back 3 weeks, well, how did we get here? So I guess that would be the advice. Don't front load it. Start small, build the context with Claude, let it compound. Okay, so real quick gut check from the room. Before I tell you what's broken in what I've built, I'll paste it in the chat. Do any of these right, I was trying to paste this in the chat. Let me get it. So if you look at those three patterns that I've just said, I'll paste it in the chat so you can remember. Of those three patterns, are there any that you'd actually steal or like be interested, think it's worth a try for your own setup? So that could be any combination of one, two, or three. If I haven't done enough in this presentation, you just give it a four. It's just really useful context for me. I'll give people a moment to drop something in. I don't know what blank means. We'll see if people are. Three is the key. Ah, yes. Arta, this probably comes from your experience doing your own. Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay. As people are jotting those in, I'll run through. There's a couple of weaknesses to what is there at the moment. Just where it's up to with v0.1. Um, the first, this is a personal tool for me, and then I've kind of thought, oh, this could be useful for other people. So currently, the vocabulary is very much mine. So you'll see folders called intelligence and files called current state and skills with funny names like OS this and CTX that. So is this because it's one person's made it? And I think we need to do a terminology refactor. And it's also very audience specific for PMs. So if anyone has a look at this, you'll feel that if you're a builder or an engineer at the moment, it needs a rework. And then the second one, and this is actually what I want feedback on. There's a pattern I keep seeing in the first round of users that I've worked with. The people who get this thing the most, they're the people who are already mid-build on their own version. And they don't switch. They don't discard what they've got and use this one. What they do is they take a pattern, they see something they like, they drop it into their setup and they move on, which is fine actually. But what it means is the segment that most understands this is like the least likely to adopt it. So at this point, I genuinely don't know what success looks like for the builder audience. I think most people in this call are probably builders instead of product managers. So if you've got a view on it, after the talk, just in a chat, in a DM, or if you want to have a conversation about it, I'd love to hear the builder perspective on this because I think it will be a bit different from the PM perspective.
Well, cool. We've got 3 minutes. So if anyone wants to just, I don't know, start a conversation about it, happy to. I've got some questions, but
I'll do one. I got two asks. Take 20 seconds.
go
The
on then, go on then.
first is feel free to go ahead and try it. I'll put the link in there.
Mhm.
Just go to this landing page, sign up, you'll get the repo. Run OS welcome. The second is if you've already got your own setup and you don't want to install another thing, I'll post the prompt in here. The quickest way, and this is what Nick did, it was brilliant actually. He just pointed his setup at the folder and did a prompt that basically is like tell me what's good, tell me what's bad, be a bit skeptical. So that's like a quick way if you don't want to install anything, but you just want to run it. And if you do that, feel free to send me the readout because it's like super useful uh, um, user feedback.
And
Awesome.
what's the other ask?
Math. Hmm?
And what's the other ask?
That
Did you
was
say?
it. One was use it, and
Yeah.
one was if you give it a try, and if you don't want to give it a try, just download it, point your setup at it, and do a diff through Claude.
Well,
I'll
I mean,
post
it's I watched can't remember who it was exactly, but it was Greg Eisenberg. It's about like all these are kind of skills or these setups, you know, take what you want from it by, reading
Mm,
by letting Claude Code read it or something read it. Because and I think that might be one of the problems we get with adoption. All these they're quite overwhelming. If you just arrive and you don't know much about building a second brain or an intelligence layer or something, building context, you're like, what am I installing? Where are the folders? Where are the files going? And so I think you're not alone. How do we get something quite complex from the gates, which isn't the terribly complex conceptually, but it looks complex when you're in there. Don't have a smart solution for that. It was just even as someone who has dabbled, you're instantly like, okay, if I do this, will it go into that folder or that folder? There's like an onboarding, I suspect, that needs to happen with these repos, like how do I drip feed it to me in a way?
So I've built an onboarding flow in a skill. So if you open it and do OS welcome, it'll take you through a 20-minute step-by-step onboarding. Take you through all the steps. You should be at a working um, second brain in about 20 minutes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Simon.
it's a shortcut. Yeah.
That's great. Appreciate that. Well, I had a question just like what do you think that might look like inside a company? Do you think we're at this position where individuals are going to be trying to build something like that, or do you think companies are going to try and give people the ability, an existing one?
You
And
know, this is the new frontier, Matt. There's like I keep seeing posts by thought leaders around how do you get teams to adopt this? But I don't think anyone's cracked it, but yeah, it's a really interesting question. I'd love to try um rolling this out to a team.
well,
Probably
yeah, I
like
suspect that's what's I think that will be happening. If not, yeah, try and do it. Nick's got one question, then we'll jump to Christian. Why OS at start and not use the same text inside Claude MD? If Nick, can you just give a bit more context to that? If it's not clear enough.
oh
Um,
he-
yeah, I guess I'm just curious, like, why do you need to run one more command when you open the terminal instead
yes.
of
So it's
open the terminal, start Claude, and it does OS start for you? I'm lazy, so I default to minimizing steps.
right. Just get yeah, maybe it could do this. I think it isn't baked into Claude MD because a lot of it is organized at the project level, and the Claude MD is like at the global level. But the question of whether you should just kick it off automatically when it starts, yeah, I think that maybe that would just be better.
Good feedback.
I have a
All right,
question. I have a question and a comment. Hi,
go ahead.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
when I
for
see
it.
something like this, with all these files, I always wonder how much is kind of optimized to the current kind of models or current way of work. Because yes, files over database and things like this can be useful for switching agent, I guess, at some point. But then you end up using some kind of a format that perhaps works better, with one agent instead of another. So yeah, so at some point you might have to think, okay, is it the Markdown the best format to get quick information, or maybe maybe database or something else. So I wonder how much might change over time, just depending on the agent's basic skill set. Because of course, Claude and Topic that try to make, with skills, their agent really good at reading Markdowns in a smart way. But I guess they might change at some
Yeah.
point as well. Yeah.
It's a really interesting question. I haven't done it, but it'd be good to set it up with sort of open code or something like this that you
Mando,
could, yeah,
¿qué?
yeah.
No, porque estoy en una reunión.
Oh,
Pasa
All
nada.
right, I'm just going to put mute Javi. All right.
yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon. Right, Christian, why don't you introduce yourself, your project, and then I'll keep an eye on the time. We overran slightly, my fault. I asked too many questions as well. So, off you go. Thank you, Christian.
Sure. I mean, it's gonna be okay. First of all, I'm Christian Giordano. I'm Italian. I've been in Barcelona for some time, but I'm moving away in a few months. Hence the back on the back. And yeah, I'm a kind of a creative technologist in the sense that I always kind of use technology and learn new technologies just for the purpose of products and design. So what I'm gonna show you today is gonna be much more visual than what we saw now, and perhaps less technical in certain ways, or maybe more. I don't know. But yes, stop me whenever you want. By the way, and just to finish my introduction, as Matt said on social media, I currently work in Glide, which is a relatively popular no-code platform, and like everyone, we are kind of in the middle of this AI transformation, and hopefully soon we will launch something transformative. using the latest innovations. And maybe next time I come here, I will demo the client instead of my personal stuff. But yeah, so going back to what I want to share today. This is a project. Let me start sharing my screen. So many, like quite a few years ago. And this is the why of the other tool that I'm going to show after. So I'm going to briefly show the reason why. So this is a tool to generate the designs and animations. Okay, very graphical, perhaps not for this audience. But over the years, with AI, me practicing at work and also see what the people do, I said, okay, let's start to enhance this product using AI. And here, for instance, the user can start creating flyers, okay? And here the user can start saying, okay, I'm making a disco party. Okay, that's a very kind of a lame prompt because basically, if I want to generate some text, with some dates, some information in the background, this is not particularly useful. So basically, what's happening here at the bottom, you have this relatively quick AI call that, based on what you type, suggests how to enhance it, how to make it a bit more clear, and perhaps to create more usable designs. Disco party in Berlin and 7 August. So now I add a bit more information. It's called minimal, whatever. And, at some point now it's kind of switched from kind of important information to something kind of nice to have. And just let me show you. So this is the first part. So this is the one use of AI that I needed, and I needed to use the right model, make it fast, make it useful. Always find a combination between smart enough but very fast. And the other part is that if you start now creating a flyer, there are two other aspects of AI. One is, of course, like a background generator, typical image generator. And the other one is a layout generator. Image generator, I mean, there are many models that can do it text to image, so that's an easy part. The other part is a bit more trickier. And I want to show some more details, just a few seconds to wait more. But for instance, when it comes to the background, I have different models that the user can choose from faster and cheaper to more expensive. And again, this is kind of a micro SaaS, but still, they have some kind of credits a month. And if they use the best model, they'll be able to generate less with the same plan. Otherwise, the user needs to pay for a bigger plan. Okay, so as I said, so here basically you see on the top the layout generations. So this is basically HTML to my kind of tool conversion, and this is image generation. So here the user can go edit the image, generate more images, or here same thing, can generate more layout, can change color, things like this. And I'm trying to make this quick because we know the product I want to demo, but so it's assuming now the user pick this one. Oh, that's a Okay, so here the user can make animation, change text, do many things. Okay, this is a basic kind of the why I started to. I needed a way to start comparing models, for text generation, comparing models for image generation, and maybe at some point even for HTML generation. So this is the little internal tool I created for the layout generation. So here I have different models that I could test. I could test the prompt, and then I have a system prompt, and this is the user prompt. So here, I just want to show you the last part of the why. Here you can see basically what was generated as HTML for the model, and then how this was translated into my primitives. And it is good, but it's not as easy as it might look like. Here we can see some of the text, the padding, the reading is not correct, but overall. In this case, this one didn't work. But anyway, the idea is to generate many, and hopefully some will work. This is a side project, and so it's definitely some marginal improvements. Okay, going back to the tool I built to actually compare models and see what you can do with it. So this is, for instance, the example of the first part that we saw, where there was the prompt enrichment. So here there is someone just typing something with very vague, and here you get the response from this case was example 3.18 billion parameters, and this is from Grok. So Grok and Cerebras are very kind of fast inference platforms. if you do this stuff using OpenAI or maybe even Anthropic, they're very slow. So you need to find very dumb models, and they can be very fast. In this case, you can see how long it took, for instance, 100 milliseconds to generate this. And I mean, these are very kind of not frontier models, but very, very fast for simple tasks like this one. So here, I mean, here I can already compare side by side the different models, different providers. Here, let me just show you a bit how it works. You have your prompt. This is you can copy also columns if you want to repeat the same prompt. But what you can do here, you can do like create dependency or templating. So this is a bit similar to Glide, the company I work where we have the concept of computed columns, where basically a column derives from another column. So you can have multiple dependency for one column. And in this case, the prompt is the one that you can see here, which is changes for every row. And the other one is fixed, the one on the top. You can also kind of combine, use multiple dependency in one. And here, if you want, you can add another row. I said disco party, I said before, right? And now basically it's generating you can see it was quick. It generated the content. And here again, you can start testing new models and see, if the quality is not good enough, if you want something cheaper or faster, perhaps you want to change it. This is for the image generation. So these are again, they are basically some examples of I'm going to say common because nothing is common, but it's typical kind of images that the people might need on a flyer generator, like with Flyer. And this is the one currently used, Imagen 4. There is another model sample from Google, Imagen 4 Fast, which is basically half the cost. And sometimes, you as a kind of product manager or SaaS owner, you need to decide, okay, where is the trade-off? I mean, is it if it is still good and if it is as fast and it's cheaper, great. If the quality goes down, perhaps it's an issue. And also, if you have other models that you want to compare for the higher prices, which I didn't really show much, but you can basically, when it comes to generator, you can change the settings. Then you need to choose, okay, is this really worth it, the extra time or extra money compared to the default one, and the one after, is it even more so? So you can figure out, and unfortunately, the model they come out every few weeks, so you need to be able also to quickly compare them, and that's I think is also part of this, and something that I didn't mention, which is not implemented yet, but I'm kind of working on it, is also the ability to say, okay, this is my, well, let me show you here. Probably that's a better example, right? Eval image. Well, okay, I'll get there. So I'll step backwards. There's actually you can add the very simple per column evaluations. Okay, so here, for instance, there is an evaluation that says, okay, sorry, this is because I used the templating. Does the image contain a person? No. And here, yes. Here, yes, because there is a little hand with a little fork. So say there is a person in the picture. So this one is true. His one it says, well, it's a person here. But anyway, it is also kind of undeterministic stuff. So all the evaluation part is definitely something that I would love to get some feedback and some ideas from other people. But basically, you can add evaluation per independent per column, and you can when you do so, you can choose which type of evaluation. Is it like a rating? Is it a kind of binary, or is a like a kind of a section? But then what I introduced more recently is actually the idea that you can say, okay, this is the model I'm currently using. This is my current model. So I want to compare with other models. So in this case, I could say this is already a variant of this, and it says it is faster. Is it cheaper? Great. This is a very mega fast image model if you don't know it. And here there is evaluation, which is kind of very simple, like sorry. Which is which picture looks more natural. You can see here that this looks a bit more natural, despite it's not particularly great picture. You can say which picture is more epic, okay? And here you expect this one to win, basically. And so it's comparing with the only variant present, and it says when he finished. He's using Gemini Pro. I'm using as a kind of smart models to make this kind of valuation. You don't want to use, of course, cheap ones. By the meantime, when he's comparing, I can actually add another variant. I can make a variant. Let's put a very good image model. Should I put? Oh, this is so slow. Let's put the Photos Flex, actually. Let's put this one.
Also, Christian, we've had some questions come in.
Yes, sorry, I've been full speed.
No worries. All good. So if you want, you can have a look at the chat, or I'll
Yeah, let me check now. We'll check, sorry. While it's comparing, I mean, doesn't look like it's working, but anyway, okay, the comparison might be broken now. Sorry, wrong chat.
I can ask
Okay,
if you want.
I'm here. Okay, try. Okay.
So the first question was, what percentage of the total token cost is used by your evals polls?
You choose. So here, as you can see, when I set up the eval, I chose the model. I mean, and they're quite cheap. I mean, to be honest with you, because these are kind of. I mean, you have some input tokens. I guess in this case, because you're uploading pictures. But actually, sorry. If you go here, also tells you. It tells you basically the explanation of the evaluation. It also tells you how much it costed. So, it's kind of minimal. I mean, that's not a concern. It's taking quite long, this comparison. I mean, obviously, you want to go for a smart model, not for a fast one. And okay, let me explain you also why I have this kind of evals in place. Because basically the idea here is that at some point, the platform knows what is your model, your current model you're using in production, which is this one. So when there is a new model coming out, for file or for replicate or for this kind of a typical provider for media generation, what the platform could do could actually compare those with your current model, with your current eval. It can say this new model is out, and actually it is cheaper, faster, or better match for your evals. Do you want to try it? So the idea is basically once the platform knows what is your evaluation, and the model they currently use, every time there is a new model in the market, then we can make automatically the comparison and let you know if it's worth testing it, if it's worth switching. So I guess in this case, you will get an email, and maybe maybe it can be something that can be shown in your eval place, and maybe you can go to your images here and say, okay, let me try this model out. And then you can just go there and then judge yourself visually. But at least you will be kind of notified about the new AI model. If you go to the website, it kind of says that it's to stay on top of AI models because they come out every week and for everyone. I mean, for me, this is a side project, so I don't have every day, every week, 2 hours to spend on figure out to test the new model. So if someone can do it for me and just let me know, then I can perhaps just in one click doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Our
So
there's quite a few questions, so I was trying to organize it for you.
Okay. So Open Router, first question. Do you have Open Writer here? Open Writer is good for comparing text generation. It's not good for comparing images. They are very slow, so it's not. It's also I don't know the cost, but very very slow generation for images. So for images, I'm still kind of stuck to file and replicate. I mean, I'm sure there are more providers. I mean, there are more providers in the pipeline. That's the ones I use, and I compare them with the Open Router, which is great for text generation because you can test all the models. And if I go here and I choose to do a text generation, I can get Opus from Anthropic, but I can also get Opus from Open Router. So I mean, I'm kind of adding the providers as they make sense, and also another part which I'm working on is the auto addition of those models in the list. For instance, Open Routers, they have an API, so this is relatively easy. I have to make all this kind of conversion from usage and cost to actually to present the actual cost, which is not particularly trivial. But other providers like replicate and file basically have a database, and I kind of add them, semi-automatically or manually. And so I had to figure out a bit, how much these things can be automated and maybe externalized in terms of API, and how much needs to be in a database, like some models. And okay, so this, yeah. Yeah, I mean, also something was also linked to evaluation to actual customer outcomes. I mean, this is if you use a bit of AI, you know also that there are some very powerful eval platforms that basically you plug in into your production code. They check in real life what the customers do, the users do. I mean, this is a bit. I would call it probably like evals for vibe coders. I mean, if you're an engineer in a big production product, or you wouldn't use this because you would have something more complex. I mean, this is maybe you must use this just to compare and to get notifications about new models, but in terms of big analysis on how customer use the models, that's I think I will leave it for better engineers than me, basically. So,
But did you
and
did the
yeah.
idea come from your own experience of like, okay, I want something that's less robust. I don't need that big enterprise type
Yeah,
solution.
yeah. I saw those things and I say, "Fuck." I mean, sorry, this swear word. I say, "Man, they look so complex and so difficult to understand." I mean, and it's fine. I mean, there is room for that. But I think, especially when it comes to kind of media generation, perhaps something more visual. This is very interactive. You can resize the rows. You can sort them or whatever. So it's a kind of very UI and driven, user driven. And I have some comments about people saying, "Oh, well, now people are in a Cloud Code, and why would you create a new destination? Why can you somehow expose this functionality inside the Cloud Code terminal?" Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad idea at all. It's just that, I'm kind of not sure. Maybe this is to be probably more visual, maybe for image and media generation than just a terminal. Um, I think, it's not bad at all. That's the future perhaps is going, but maybe for this, find it so niche.
So Nick, I've got a question here. So when you use this for real life image assessment, which I'm assuming that you do to some extent, how many evals do you normally use? Do you create them by hand? Do you make them up on the fly, or do you have a process to do like
No, I mean,
what's the process
in
of
this,
doing an evaluation?
okay. For instance, in this case, if I understood the answer correctly, in Bitflyer, I basically get all the generations in Slack. Okay, so here I get what people generate. Huh? What's that? So anyway, I get the generations here. So here I can see the stuff that perhaps looks, more kind of, common. I mean, for instance, someone making a screenshot with a lava. I mean, I don't care about that. So you can find some kind of challenging parts and some images that perhaps, you might not want them to look too synthetic. I mean, this one, for instance, I think it's a good test because it looks very synthetic. And you must say, okay, in a prompt like this, perhaps you shouldn't, make something so synthetic. And so I think it's not that difficult to just pick some kind of samples of things that looks kind of common enough uh, to be useful. But yeah, I every now and then I pick about people do. I can also see this stuff in the provider if I want to, but it's a bit easier in Slack just to go through and see and maybe spot some stuff and say, okay, this doesn't look nice. Because over the years I changed the model, obviously. So this wasn't the first model I used. So you have to kind of make sure they say, okay, is this actually now an improvement or not? I mean, there are cheaper models. I could easily switch to something cheaper, but I think quality is also important for me. And so it's good to always kind of keep an eye. And this is just video. I'll show you something quite cool actually.
So last
Look at this
question.
one. Okay.
Okay. Do you render the images in full size for each model, or is it the purpose of this evaluation tool to decide which image to spend more dollar on? to
I
render
mean,
sometimes.
yeah, I mean, you can, as long as you compare them apple to apple. I mean, if I make a generation of two images, I want to compare speed and cost, and one is double resolution than the other, then the comparison is not great. So you need to make sure that, if I want to compare speed and cost, the generation is the same. So the size is the same. So in this case, you can see this. This was the first one word prompt. This was the enrichment. Then made an image and then made a video out of it. So this is kind of you saw the chain. Sorry.
Is the user journey, just for my purposes, when you want to do a new comparison, you just kind of create a new row, like like a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
What's
it's like a spreadsheet. You can say, okay, the last thing. I don't know. And you say, okay, let's make an image out of this. And you can say the image, whatever. First one, you say, okay, use the prompt as a prompt.
and
We'll
what's that?
do, yeah.
That prompt is from cell the first
Yeah,
row, right? Okay,
yeah.
and then it's okay, and then it's okay. So it's like yeah, I mean it's like Glide in the sense
It,
of when
it is like
I'm thinking
in
about
that.
when I was building in Glide, yeah.
Yeah, it is like light. So basically, you can reference, and you can do very complex stuff because you can reference a multiple prompts because you can say there's a prompt and I mean just an example, right? When you saw before, right? Also, the evaluation is this human.
Totally.
So you can basically say, okay, now I want to share the evaluation, and you can say, okay, let's evaluate.
And you're
And
you're
yeah,
using an LLM to run the evaluation itself as well.
yeah, of course. So in
Yeah.
this case, there's an image. I mean, yeah, let's try this. So I usually it should work also here. I usually use um, Gemini, but you say evolution prompt. Well, let's see if it works. I mean, it would work probably better if well, it's okay. Is the you say the test is text in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And you say pass or false, not evaluation. So let's see if it failure. Okay, I think I should do a different model because probably when doesn't like images.
No worries. I get the idea anyway. I'm conscious of time now only because
Okay,
I've
sure.
got to go and
I
get
think
my.
I showed that to show someone's question. Just let me know.
No, that was great. I mean, it's amazing that I can see the use case 100% see it. If I was building a product where I was acquiring a lot of images and I had to, especially monitoring new models that were coming out and easily testing it, it's really powerful. Has anyone got any last questions before we close up? Because I did say it was 45 minutes long, this call. Well, awesome. Well, look, please, thank you, Simon. Thank you, Christian, for sharing your time. I hope this will trigger some feedback from people as well. Probably not on the call now, but afterwards. And then please keep sharing your adventures, let's call them, on the AI train, and then catch everyone in the community. So thank you very much for coming. See you very soon. Bye bye.
Thanks for that.